Okay, so I'm talking with Andrew Murphy. He's a fifth grade, fourth grade teacher at Carver Elementary in Kansas City, and we kind of brought him here today because at Bishop Ward High School we're going over different kinds of one-to-one technology initiatives, especially with the Google Classroom. And I use Google Classroom, and so I'm going to try to get some things from him, and then he's going to try to get some things from me, so we can kind of see where we're at with the Google Classroom and how we can incorporate that into our own school. So, so kind of Andrew, can you just kind of give me some idea of what you do at in your classroom with technology at Carver?
So I teach fourth grade, and we're departmentalizing fourth grade, so I teach all ELA, social studies, and science, and then the other teacher teaches in English. It's a dual language school, so then the other fourth grade teacher teaches Spanish literacy and math. And we've had one-to-one ever since I've been there, so this is my fifth year. And each student's assigned a laptop, and they take it with them from class to class. And one of the main things that I've always used since the beginning is for their laptops is a program called Accelerated Reader, and it's just simply an accountability piece of tracking their independent reading. And it's the program I like for that purpose. Simply it tracks, and it just is a quick check to make sure that they're understanding what they're reading independently. The limitation to that, though, is that the questions about the books are on a very lower level, and it's not really any open-ended, not any critical thinking, but it's just simply like level one questions of who's the main character, things like that. And so I wish that it would push them a little bit more, but again, I'm just using it simply as making sure that they're getting enough time reading independently. Other arenas, I've started this year using Google Classroom for the first time. I took the Google Level 1 Educator Certification, and I passed that in December. But I started using it as I took the course. And that's been nice because in the beginning I used it simply as a place where I could post links to other websites, games, and stuff like that, or like a station or independent time when I'm working with a small group. I posted like a website, and then they can easily get on there and click on the link.
Okay.
And that's been nice because before I'd have to, it just was hard to get them to the exact website without writing out the whole URL, and fourth graders have a hard time. You know, they have one little thing wrong, and then
I get that.
And then it takes a lot more of my time. Yeah. So the link, just having a place where they know easily how to access and get on, and get to something that I want them to go towards. That's been helpful. Really helpful.
That's kind of, you mentioned the Google Classroom, and because we have Google Classroom in our school, but we only use it for it's really only accessible at school with computer labs. So you have laptops. How do you feel like the Google Classroom helps with one-to-one technology? Do you feel like it's accessible, or do you feel like is it just works at school, or do you find it also working at home as well?
Well, they don't take their laptops home.
Right.
So
right.
starting in seventh grade, the district lets them take it home. But
okay, starting seventh grade.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm almost positive. Yeah, seventh grade they can take the laptops home, but
oh, wow.
and fourth grade they cannot. So that stays all with me.
So,
and so any homework or any things that do, like they talk about the blended classroom or the flipped classroom where I make videos and then they watch that, and so then in class we just talk about the video being watched, stuff like that. I haven't done because a lot of it's a low social economic status place, and that they don't have access to internet. Everyone doesn't. Now, I'd say the majority does, but then again, there's a big chunk that their only access is through their parent's smartphone. And again, so then you're playing off of that, and it's not a perfect setup. It's not ideal.
Yeah, because that's kind of similar to what we have at our issue is not everybody has a computer in the classroom, and then we also have like 20%, 20 to 30% are able to access the homework, but then the ones that we need don't have really regular access, and then we don't. So the Google Classroom is kind of doesn't really, it works, but it's more useful in class than it is for like homework, like you would hope.
Yeah.
What are some of the so you talked about posting links. Have you done like Google Docs or anything, or any incorporation into that with
Yeah, so the first time, the thing that I like is doing it where you can post something and then make a copy for every student.
Okay.
And so I've done that, and so then what I like about it is, and also using it more instead of paper pencil, is it's more like the platform that they're going to be taking the state assessment on, or the access test. We have over 80% English language learners, so starting next week they're taking the access test, which is on the computer. They have to type online.
Oh wow.
And so it's just getting them more used to the platform and being able to do that.
For testing?
Yeah, for testing. And so, for example, tomorrow they're going to be doing comparing and contrasting essay, which is in direct preparation for the access test that they're going to be doing that next week. Well, they have to type it. It's all on the computer next week for the ELL test that tests their English proficiency, all the English language learners. And so I'm gonna post a Google Doc with the directions and have spaces for them to type, and they'll do that all in the Google Classroom. And it's the one-to-one, I think, really helps me in terms of small group instruction. And in the reading class in elementary, it's all about small group instruction and having your kids leveled in guided reading groups. And so then when I'm meeting with one group, my ELL teachers in my classroom meeting with another group, though the other half of the class then is doing some sort of independent work away from me. And the computer really allows for flexibility in lots of arenas. So a lot of times they're independently reading, and then they get on their computer to take a test about the book they just read. But sometimes, like tomorrow, I'm going to start the instruction, and then I'm going to get them started. And then once everyone's on their computer typing their essay and working on their essay, that's when I will pull small groups. So it's a way to keep them engaged when I'm pulling a small group. One thing I'm trying to think about and push for is, and that's what I go and see a lot of classrooms in my school. I'm in a coaching position, this teaching, but also in a coaching position part-time, where I'm going into a lot of classrooms. And yeah, they're engaged in quotation marks, because they're on the screen, but it's not engagement in terms of critical thinking and going back and forth and having an academic conversation and negotiating meaning and things like that. And so it's just a lot. So I'm pushing myself and thinking of ways of, they can use the computer and I can give them a game and go on and they can, do that. But how can you use this to actually interact with one another and respond, maybe like using the comment section and things like that. And going back and forth on that. It just takes, again, a lot of explicit teaching with that.
And that's what, and I love I know like when I visited Cristo Rey San Jose a couple years ago, I was always like really fascinated by their blended learning for high school. And it kind of seems a lot what they do in their high school is kind of similar to you. I know for like when I'm in my classroom, I do a lot of the Google Docs. I've just gotten away from Microsoft Word, and just because, not having to save things, saves it automatically, them having always access to it no matter what computer they're at. I just found that very easy. I've also been finding it for testing, especially using Google Forms. So Google Forms has like it formatted that you can set it up as a test and it corrects it for you. Especially with somebody as busy with me, like I'm doing multiple things, being able to have tests corrected for me, and then having the data for all that tests very quickly, I found was another very big positive, and I could share that out with them really well. What are probably some that, especially as we're one-to-one, it seems like you guys have had it for a couple years, from either your experience or from other experiences at other schools, what do you think are some drawbacks or some things that you still think need some fine-tuning as a program?
Teachers believe that just having the laptop solves all the issues. And again, that go back to that engagement piece. The with teachers who had problems in classroom management. Put them on the website. Good, they're fine. Okay, yeah, they're on that, but that's when a lot of problems arise. That's when somebody set their computer on fire. And stuff like that happens because they're on their computer and that.
In class?
In class. With
That
the
had a
teacher,
fire?
Yeah, with the teacher in the room because he kept on stabbing his laptop with a pencil. Pushing it. And so we have this great new tool. And you walk into my classroom, probably, I don't know, 70% of the time, 80% of the time, you're not going to see them on the computer. It's not a everyday, thing. There's teachers in my building that use it a whole lot more than me. So it's not something, I don't think it's the magic bullet.
And that's kind of what we've been talking about as well. It's like, I know some older teachers are a little hesitant, but I think we all agree that good teaching is still good teaching regardless of technology. But, how can you help? And then kind of one of the last questions, because, your student population roughly is what, Spanish speaking?
We have about 80% Hispanic. About 60% of that's native Spanish speaking. The other 20 is like Spanglish and English and Spanish at home.
Yeah, because our population is about 60% Hispanic, probably roughly around 50%, 50 to 40% native Spanish speaking. When you came with one-to-one, just curious because similar demographics. How do you feel like with parent response with kind of sharing technology? Do you find parents open? Do you guys do stuff to kind of educate them during the school year, like either like workshops or like technology nights to help them kind of get engaged?
Not technology nights, but we've had content area nights where we do math night or reading night, and one of the stations at those nights is always a computer station, and we have a list of websites that they can go on at home.
Do you think that could work at a high school level?
If there's accountability. And again, though, the access thing, it's tricky because it's a fine line because there's so many options where they can get the free Wi-Fi, go to McDonald's, go to Starbucks, go like that. But they also have to have a device. But if it's one-to-one and they're taking their device home, well, that's not an excuse. But, so I think that...
Because I know that's what we're going to be doing is taking the device home. And I know at Chris Ray San Jose, we said, what about kids on the internet? They kind of had that attitude of, well, they can go to a library, they can go to McDonald's, they can go to Starbucks. That's not an excuse. You got the technology.
Yeah. And I know some cities have initiatives that if you're a high school student or middle school student, that you get free Wi-Fi from, maybe it's Google Fiber